You just said teams don't let good players get out of the building, but sometimes teams will send good players out of the building.
Yeah, right.
And it started on Friday night. Geno Smith, after John Schneider told us face-to-face, my words, any doubt who he's the guy this year? And the first word was no. Well, 10 days later, yes. Geno Smith gets traded to the Raiders. And then, as you saw on the graphic, and as I said with my mouth, DK Metcalf traded to the Steelers. Big picture, if we'd sat down a week ago today before we knew that Metcalf wanted out and we had any inkling that Geno Smith was going to be traded, the idea that they got a second and a third-round pick for Geno Smith and DK Metcalf, we would have said, no way. No way that's all they're getting for these guys.
Yeah, I thought it would have been more. Or definitely, I guess I would have expected more from maybe DK Metcalf. The Geno Smith thing, that I think is about maybe what I would have expected there. But either way, shocking news. I mean, shocking news, first off, with Seattle, where they are, Geno Smith. It seemed like you said, Mike McDonald, we talked to him. It just seemed like everything was pointing in the direction of, hey, we like Geno. Okay, we know he's not perfect, but we like him. There's a lot to respect. He's got skills. We got talent. We kind of just brushed it under the rug. And we're like, okay, they're going with Geno Smith, right? And that happens out of nowhere. So the first thing you do is go, damn, okay, Seattle, who's gonna be your quarterback next year? But bigger on that is the Raiders and the approach. The approach with the Raiders, yeah, it's awesome. It's Pete Carroll, it's Geno Smith. He knows what Geno's all about. You want to jumpstart your culture, right? We talk about all the time. How about a guy that's been there, knows how you operate as the head coach, can spread your message in the locker room like we always talk about. And then on top of that, I think the most intriguing thing is, of course, the Raiders have the number 6 pick in the NFL draft. They have Tom Brady. All of us have our binoculars, our telescopes out, all are looking to see what is Tom Brady going to do at the quarterback position. And he basically just said, up yours, draft, and all you quarterbacks. I don't want any of you, right? And by all due accounts, I don't think Cam Ward will be there when they pick. So I think he's really saying he doesn't want the rest of them right now, at least at number 6. So let's get Geno Smith. I like him. He's under the radar. I've studied him. He's a good decision maker. He's got a really good arm. He's a good leader. Okay, Pete, let's do it. But that, to me, was the big news. The Raiders addressed the quarterback situation, not in the way we thought they might, and the fact that they do that kind of takes them out, I think, of the first round, number 6 pick quarterback conversation, to me, which is some of the biggest news of the weekend.
It's not impossible, though, because they don't have a new deal, I'm told, with Geno Smith on the way in the door, which is always a mistake. You're giving up not significant, not a first-rounder, but still, you're giving up draft capital to get a guy.
Yeah.
I thought they'd have something done on the way in. I was told on Saturday there's no deal in place with Geno yet. And that's the thing that made the Smith and the Seahawks relationship go sideways. Let's play what Schneider said to us from the scouting combine, because it was more than just me saying, is there any doubt he's the guy, and Schneider saying no. It's what he said after that I think prompted this trade. Here it is. Geno Smith has been your starting quarterback ever since Russell Wilson was traded to the Broncos, entering the last year of his contract. Mike McDonald's made it clear that's his guy.
Yep.
I mean, is there any doubt that Geno Smith is the guy for 2025?
No, I mean, Geno, we'll be meeting with his guys down here hopefully the next day or two. I'm not sure when we have that scheduled, but he finished the season strong. He got banged up there towards the end. Really sucked it up. But like all of us, right? Like, you have some of those decisions you want to have back, but in totality, he had a really nice season, and I don't foresee him not being with us.
The reference to meeting with his guys meant that they were going to sit down to try to hammer out a new contract. He had a cap number north of $40 million. He had total cash of $25 million. They couldn't work out a deal. I'm told he wanted 40 or more. Seahawks were in the neighborhood of 30. There's a point where you say, you know what, let's get what we can, and let's find another quarterback who dollar for dollar is going to be cheaper. I think that's what changed the no doubt, although no doubt was still an overstatement, because John Schneider, while he was sitting there with us, recognized there's a chance this meeting isn't going to go well, Chris, with Geno's guys, and he didn't, but that's what prompted the trade. And from the Raiders' perspective, after Matthew Stafford stays with the Rams. They're thrown into chaos. You've got names that popped out of veterans like Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, Sam Darnold, which the front office reportedly were not enamored with.
Right.
Then you had the idea that Pete Carroll didn't want to break in a rookie. It's like, come on, I don't got many years in this gig.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go.
Right.
And Geno Smith ends up being kind of the compromise guy. And this is one of those, because the phone calls and the text messages can happen pretty quickly, and there are certain potential stories that I end up missing because I'm moving on to the next thing. But I had a conversation last week to get the full numbers of the Max Crosby deal. This was Thursday. Max Crosby deal done Wednesday. On Thursday, I'm taking down all the numbers, and we posted them at PFT. And I said to my source, hey, while I got you, is there just, no interest in Aaron Rodgers? And no, I think Pete wants Geno Smith. And that was Thursday. And so the wheels were in motion. And as it turned out, the trade talks, and I think Albert Breer and maybe Mike Garafolo reported this, the trade talks started earlier in the week with the Seahawks offering Smith and Geno Metcalf and wanting Max Crosby. And no Max Crosby. But that might have given a little, as you would say, the red-hot poker to get the Crosby deal done, because hey, he catches wind that better teams than us want him. Maybe he will want out. So Crosby gets done Wednesday, and by Friday night they have their quarterback. And what a different vibe from the Raiders in 1 week.
Yeah, totally different vibe. Now you can use that number 6 pick too, which I don't want to take the quarterback conversation totally out of there, but by all due accounts, I don't think they're going quarterback number 6. But all the things you've said, I've heard the same thing. Pete Carroll doesn't want to deal with that. He knows he's not going to be there forever. He wants to hit the ground running and try to compete right away. So he knows Geno Smith gives him a chance to do that instead of breaking the young quarterback in. Now at number 6, you can do whatever you got to do to improve your football team. Now that you got the quarterback right now and that's done, we can turn our focus in free agency to let's get some offensive players around the quarterback now, wide receivers, whatever else. We need weaponry there. So it makes a lot of sense from the Raiders. It makes a lot of sense. It's a rare one where I think it makes a lot of sense for both sides. I look at Seattle and their side of it and go, hey, I get it. Second-round pick, Geno Smith. He wanted a little bit more money maybe than they were willing to give him. They knew he wasn't the long-term answer there. You got a head coach that's going into his second year. He'd probably like to have his own people here, not leftovers from the Pete Carroll era, to where he can just have his new vision and guys and nucleus to look at the Mike McDonald future going forward. So from that aspect too, I get it. It's shocking that the Seahawks lost those type of caliber players in one night, really. It really is. But, I do think it's a good move from them big picture wise, and I think it was a really good move by the Las Vegas Raiders.
It's still odd, though, when you consider all the stuff that Mike McDonald has said about Geno Smith at the end of the season. He's our guy. You can win a championship with him.
Yeah.
Is something that Mike McDonald said. And then when Clint Kubiak became the offensive coordinator, he said Geno was a huge draw, which just is a reminder, folks. Take things at face value at your own risk. Yes, it generates a headline. Somebody in a position of direct influence with the title of coach, GM, offense coordinator, owner, they say it, it's newsy. But don't take it at face value, or do so at your own risk, because things can change quickly. And the two guys that came up, because right after we talked about Geno was when you asked him about DK Metcalf. And DK Metcalf, he was like, who? Trade? Well, that's first time hearing of that, or words to that effect. Well, that thing mushroomed last week as well.
That one is where I don't know if I'll buy him on that one. All right, that's the one where I think he might have duped us a little bit and probably had a little inkling there. The Geno thing, but by all due accounts, and even I know people in league circles and connected up there where it felt like they were in on Geno. This feels like it was a little bit of like you talked about. Well, wait, we had a meeting. We didn't like the numbers they were asking for. We weren't expecting that. Hold on. Wait. Wait. The Raiders are at the same time figuring out, maybe we don't want to deal with any of these quarterbacks at number 6, not named Cam Ward, because, again, I think Cam Ward will be gone by then. So let's readjust. Hey, let's call around. And all of a sudden you're like, hey, all of a sudden our plan was to go with Geno, but he's asking for more money. And out of nowhere, we got a team calling out of the blue to trade for him. Like, what the hell? Okay, maybe let's sit down. Let's have a meeting. Maybe we got to change our plans here going forward. It feels like that a little bit with the Seahawks. The DK one, I think he pulled the old okey doke on us for sure.
Unless also he wasn't sure the magnitude of the demand that Metcalf was going to make. Maybe they met later because he ends up getting, and we're going to get to the point where we fully unpack the Metcalf trade, $33 million a year in new money. That's a lot for any receiver, and it's a lot for a receiver that the Seahawks have never used properly. So if you're not going to get the full use out of him, why would you pay him what he could be worth if you made full use out of him? So I can understand why the Seahawks quickly get to the point where they say, too rich for our blood. Same point they got to with Geno Smith. And again, they got there by, let's say, Tuesday of next week, because that's when they were talking to the Raiders about Max Crosby, and the Seahawks compensation would have included both Metcalf and Smith. So this was on the radar screen for a few days before it actually happened. So they came around after that meeting with Smith's agent, and they probably had their plans cemented with Metcalf after they found out Metcalf was looking for probably Justin Jefferson money. And if he was, he didn't come down very much. He got $33 million per year in new money. It's a 5-year, $150 million contract, and he was due to make $18 million in the last year of his contract with the Seattle Seahawks. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.